Dave, just first, any updates on Gavin Lux? Anything you've heard so far for him?
Well, what I've heard is there was an ACL, torn ACL. It's going to be the season, I think. So, I think it's like an 8-month recovery. Gavin is obviously crushed. It's a huge blow. My heart just goes out to him. All of ours does, and so so that's kind of where we're at.
Is there anything that we told him to just give him a little bit of hope? Is that something you have to have a conversation with?
I talked to him, and more of just trying to give him the freedom to be upset in every sense of that word, which is okay. And then once we get past that, then our job is to keep him involved and relevant with his teammates, with the organization, and then get better and get back ready for next year.
Dave, was it just the ACL?
It was that was the main part of it. There was a little bit of little lateral stuff, but the bottom line is that it was enough to take on, to do the whole season.
How do you guys make up for what you expected as far as production and his role on the team?
Well, that's a lot of Miguel Rojas. The reason we traded for a guy like Miguel was to guard against potential volatility, downside, whatever. So now, obviously he's going to take on a brunt of those at-bats at shortstop. And so we feel very good about that, but obviously bad for Gavin. I think Mookie will take some more at second base, and CT will take some more at shortstop. So kind of how we can the early part of that.
Do you think you're going to need to add another big league player now, especially as you're trying to move around these?
I don't know. All I do know is that what we have will be more than sufficient, but we're always trying to get better. Whether it's internally, externally, but I don't know.
Was the ACL kind of what you guys were expecting after the initial tests yesterday, or did it come as a surprise? It
was part of that. Yeah, it was like I know some of the things about the knees, but it was the LCL and the ACL. We were kind of thinking it was going to be something like that. Yeah.
And do you know about surgery yet? When that will take place?
Yeah, his surgery is going to be. I think it's scheduled for the 7th. I think.
Is he going back to LA for that, or will it be here?
He's going to go back to LA.
Dave, you had said a couple of days ago about Taylor's elbow, and maybe it was better for him to be in the outfield. Are you confident that he can make that throw?
I talked to Chris. He is 100% healthy. Now it's just getting on the throwing program to make sure that he can handle the throw from shortstop. He's aware of that. He feels confident in that. And so now the bouncing around from short to potentially play a little bit of third base, potentially if he needs to spell max, and then to play a little left field. So we're confident, yes, that he can do that, yes.
We talked about how with this year's team, maybe the margin for error was going to be a little thinner, that you're going to have to do a little bit more mixing and matching with the depth. Just to have a blow like this 3 games into the spring, how jarring is that just to kind of adjust to at this point, and how does it kind of impact when you look at how big of a knock-on effect will it have with the rest of how you're putting together the lineup and the roster?
It cuts into it. Part of building a roster of 40 men, and it's like you kind of have to account for certain things. But where we're at in spring and the kind of being able to mix and match a little bit how we sort of looked at the roster, it cuts into that. But to have a guy to play a premium position. And we trust the defender first and foremost in Miguel Rojas. That's huge. So again, that's why we made that decision to trade for Miguel.
And when something like this happens, how much do you address that to the clubhouse in one of your meetings and stuff like that?
I brought it up and let guys know that Gavin was going to be here today, was going to miss the season. I think now people are more aware than they ever have been with what's going on. So I didn't make too much of it. and they kind of have their own thoughts. Yeah.
As good as Rojas is defensively, you feel pretty comfortable there, but what does it do to your lineup not having Gavin's bat?
Well, Miguel hasn't. I think there's more in there offensively than there has been the last 2 years. It's the defense that's the primary focus, and that, I felt that way with Gavin as well at shortstop, taking on that position. So he's going to somewhere at the bottom of the order and be the leader, and he's going to put together good at bats, but it's not going to be his job to carry us offensively. But just we expect that professional at bat. I think with the information that we have and the game prep, I still believe that there's a lot more than there has been the last 2 years.
Was he like a neutral guy? I mean, obviously he had better numbers against lefties. You won't have a lefty now in Lux in that position. Like, is that kind of something you're going to have to balance out? Or is it going to be like an everyday thing with him?
I think it's going to be, play him and appreciate where he's at in his career to then complement him with CT.
What does that do for guys like Trace and some of the other guys battling for outfield spots now that you're going to have to use Chris and potentially Mookie in the infield?
It just creates more at-bats and opportunities.
Do you think having Chris and Mookie gives you kind of enough infield flexibility, or are there other guys to kind of take the role that Rojas was going to play before? Do you need like somebody else to replace that spot now?
I don't. I think that will, because as it looks, we expect Vargas and Rojas and Max to play a lot. So I think that those guys are built to play a lot, and so to kind of get CT in there around the diamond, I think that works.